Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you're a focused learner trying to level up your communication, you already know that just staring at dry vocabulary lists, well, it's a terrible way to learn. Real mastery? It comes from context. So today we're unpacking 20 incredibly common yet surprisingly nuanced English phrases. We're going to look at exactly how they're used in the wild, specifically around work, dealing with emotions, and ultimate triumph.
But seriously, I want you to ask yourself, how many of these confusing, sometimes kind of bizarre phrases do you actually use correctly in a sentence, right? It's one thing to vaguely recognize a phrase when you hear it, but it's an entirely different beast to confidently deploy it yourself. We're moving way beyond dry definitions today. We want to understand their true conversational flavor so you can sound naturally fluent and, honestly, a lot more persuasive.
Okay, let's dive into this. We're going to break this down into 3 core thematic chapters so it actually sticks in your brain. First up, the workplace grind. Second, high stakes and emotions. And finally, the underdog's triumph.
Section 1. The workplace grind. Navigating effort, paperwork, and outcomes.
So here's a quick preview of this first cluster of work-related phrases we're about to break down into a genuinely usable toolkit. We've got terms ranging from pencil pusher all the way to ad nauseum. Now, what's really interesting about this group of phrases is how it creates a sort of mini narrative of work effort. Think about how a project actually starts out in the real world. First, someone has to dangle a carrot, promise a reward like a bonus, just to motivate you. Then you start the actual work, and inevitably, you fall down a rabbit hole or you do a deep dive. You get so totally consumed by researching the details that you're just lost in the data. But eventually, your boss knocks on the door and asks for the bottom line. They don't care about the rabbit hole you've been in. They just want the most important point, the final outcome. And while you're in that intense research phase, that deep dive, you absolutely have to be meticulous, meaning you're being very careful about small details. It's an incredibly positive trait. You aren't just skimming the surface here, you're cross-checking the numbers, you're formatting the cells perfectly, you're leaving literally no stone unturned. Meticulous work is exactly what makes that final bottom line actually trustworthy.
But of course, the modern workplace is full of completely contrasting attitudes, isn't it? On one side, we have the pencil pusher, which is a slightly derogatory term for a person who just does a lot of mundane paperwork, trapped in administrative bureaucracy. On the flip side, you get the totally dismissive attitude of someone who claims they have bigger fish to fry. They are bluntly telling you they have much more important things to do than whatever trivial task is sitting in front of them. You definitely don't want to be the pencil pusher in that scenario.
And what happens when someone keeps asking you to do the exact same meaningless task? They talk about it ad nauseum. This literally translates to the point of nausea, repeating something again and again until it becomes intensely physically annoying. I mean, we all know that one colleague who brings up their quote-unquote brilliant ideas ad nauseum in every single morning meeting, right?
Let's move to and see how this builds into Section 2, High Stakes and Emotions, Handling Psychological Reactions.
Consider the sheer unpredictability of human reactions for a second. Picture someone flying off the handle, meaning they suddenly and unpredictably become furious. The mental image here is literally an axe head flying off its wooden handle mid-swing. It's dangerous, it's completely out of control. Contrast that extreme with a bed of roses, which is an incredibly easy, comfortable situation with no difficulties whatsoever. You'll often hear people use this as a warning, like, hey, this project isn't going to be a bed of roses, especially if you're dealing with a boss prone to flying off the handle.
And then there's the reaction of pure, freezing anxiety. Picture a dark road at midnight. A car rounds the corner, and there it is, a deer in the headlights. If you're caught like a deer in the headlights, you are so deeply shocked or surprised by a situation that you simply can't move. You can't even think. Your brain just halts. It is the ultimate expression of being caught completely unprepared in a super high-stakes moment.
You really have to appreciate the humor in the literal imagery of these reactions. When we're annoyed but trying desperately not to explode, we might just huff and puff, breathing loudly to show our anger, kind of like a tired cartoon wolf. Or perhaps we escape the stress entirely and daydream, just completely fantasizing about the future while wide awake. And hey, if someone mentions they aren't exactly a spring chicken anymore, they're playfully admitting they're not a young person, so they probably just don't have the energy for all that huffing and puffing.
Section 3. The underdog's triumph. Performance, commitment, and success. All right, let's look at this final cluster of terms. Underdog, redeem, thrive on, 10 toes down, play my heart out, fair and square, own the room. These aren't just words.
They build an amazing narrative of overcoming the absolute odds.
It all starts right here. The underdog. This is a person who the world fully expects to lose, but who fiercely keeps fighting anyway. They don't have the resources, they definitely don't have the support, they're facing a situation that is the exact opposite of a bed of roses. Yet, they refuse to quit. Honestly, we are just biologically wired to root for the underdog.
But how does that underdog actually pull off a win? Well, first, they usually have to redeem themselves. Let's be real. Underdogs stumble. To redeem means to fix a past mistake by doing something undeniably good afterward. You have to clear your name. And more importantly, true underdogs thrive on the pressure. To thrive on something means you don't just survive it. You actually gain energy or benefit from the very thing that was supposed to crush you. You thrive on the challenge.
That magical ability to thrive, it comes from an absolutely unyielding mindset, being 10 toes down. I absolutely love the imagery here. Imagine standing with both feet planted firmly on the floor, perfectly balanced, completely immovable. You are completely committed and totally loyal to your goal. You are not backing up a single inch.
When it finally comes time for the ultimate test, it's really about winning the right way. You promise to play my heart out, which means you perform with absolutely all your energy and passion. You leave nothing on the table. But it's not just about ruthless aggression, right? True triumph means winning fair and square. That means the victory was completely honest and fair. No cheating, no shady shortcuts, just pure, meticulous hard work paying off.
And this brilliantly illustrates how these terms actually breathe life into a real conversation. Imagine a colleague looking you dead in the eye and saying, "I'm 10 toes down, ready to play my heart out and win this fair and square." I mean, wow. That is vividly more powerful than just saying, "I'm going to try hard and be honest," right? The context completely transforms the emotional impact.
So the crucial point is this. When you can communicate with that kind of vivid human imagery, you achieve the ultimate goal. You own the room. To own the room means to effortlessly attract everyone's attention with your total confidence, your charisma, and your undeniable presence. When you speak like that, people don't daydream, they listen, because you're literally painting a picture with your words.
And that's exactly where I want to leave you today. You now have this incredible toolkit of 20 powerful phrases, all contextualized for the workplace, for emotional moments, and for ultimate triumph. So, here's my final challenge to you. Which of these phrases will you purposefully use to own the room tomorrow? Don't let this just be another explainer you watched and forgot about. Take just one phrase and use it in your very next conversation. Thank you so much for learning with me, and I'll catch you in the next one.